What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the episode of Meet the Hobby, and I got a very special guest on board today. We got Breaking Ball 2, aka Mike, builds very, very affordable card stands for your pleasure. How you doing today, Mike?
Hey, I'm good, Sean. I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Are you a collector? And what are you into collecting? Like, how did this all start for you?
Yeah, so hey, I grew up in the '80s, right? And I've been a baseball fan, a sports fan, but primarily a baseball fan my whole life. Collected cards, going back into the early '80s. Lived through that junk wax era. And then moved on with life and got busy with different things. Got busy with a family and kids and all of their activities. And then, as they got older, my kids are 20 and 18. I needed to get back into a hobby again. And after trying a couple of different things, I landed right back in cards. And the world's changed a lot. A lot hasn't changed. I mean, it's still a lot of it is still opening that pack of cards and getting your favorite player or just a really cool card. But a lot has changed in the time that I was out, and I'm just having fun, kind of catching up and meeting new people.
Isn't it? I'm an old collector as well, and what would you say is one thing you miss about the old style collecting versus the current style collecting?
I was thinking about this last night. It's funny. I miss the gum, to be honest. And I think what I mean is I miss being 10 years old and buying a pack of cards for 35 cents and knowing I was getting a stick of gum with it. And also I miss the innocence of it all, if that makes sense. I wanted Red Sox players cards. And you know what? I was happy if I got a Red Sox player in the pack, even if it wasn't a superstar, even if it was just a relief pitcher or whatever. And it's changed a little bit. Now I can break a hobby box and like, oh, another relief pitcher autograph. And I'm like, 10-year-old me would have, probably stabbed somebody to get a relief pitcher autograph in a pack of cards. So, this is the innocence, and I think the gum kind of represents that a little bit for me.
So here's a funny story. We break cards, and sometimes we used to do this thing called Wayback Wednesdays, and I think it was like a 1995 Upper Deck football. No, it wasn't Upper Deck. I forgot what it was. Exactly what we broke, but it was a pack of cards that still had gum in it. And so one of the guys that broke with us, his name is Eddie. Eddie, if you're watching this video, you know exactly what I'm about to talk about. So I don't know how it came about, but the dare came, and he's like, "Hey, if you top load that and send it to me, I'll eat it on camera." And so we're like, "Okay." And so we do everything through. Our majority intimate group is through Facebook, and next thing you know, we see a video of him pulling out the stick of gum, and he goes, "I got my mail today," and he puts it. You can just see the chalk of. It's like, oh god. I will never forget that day, and I will never forget gum in packs of cards. I hope they don't ever do it again. But back then it was cool. We didn't know any better, right? We definitely didn't know any better. But if I have one thing to say about old cards versus new cards, what I really, really miss, I actually have one lying around somewhere, is on the back of the card you had the career stats on the baseball card. And I will never forget Phil Niekro's card. I have a Phil Niekro card over here. And there's like 21 seasons of stats on there. And it's so, you can't even read it. You need a magnifying glass. But they fit it all onto the back of the card. I think if I have anything that miss about that area, or that era of cards, that's what it would be.
Cool.
Yeah, so back to you. So are you just mainly collecting baseball? Are you mainly collecting other sports too?
I mainly baseball, but I also like weird things too. I like you give me an old card, that's relating to history. I think I was in a stack sale the other day, and I remember typing, I'll take the Mitt Romney and the Daisy Ridley and and the some other. It was Richard Nixon. And I'm like, that's probably the first time those words have all been typed together in one sentence. I'll take Romney, Nixon, and Ridley. And so I like some oddball stuff. For sports, hey, I have a little bit of everything. A little bit of football, a little bit of basketball, a little bit of hockey. Primarily PC stuff around Boston. I'm from New England originally, and so that's where the roots are, and that's where the joy in the hobby comes from.
So are you a Patriots fan?
I am a Patriots fan.
I've always wondered this. I mean, a lot of people, I've heard people usually say they understood where Tom Brady was coming from when he left. But were your feelings hurt when he did leave?
Absolutely. I will be completely on. And do I understand it? Of course I do. And yeah. But I went through those couple of years when he was in Tampa. I was like, I'm going to like him again a lot better when he retires. And we can look back on everything. It was. I was jealous. I was jealous of the fact that other fans got to watch him play for their team. Even though it probably made sense all around, it made sense for the team. It made sense for him. So.
Yeah, what's funny about that is I told myself, if Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay, he wins the championship in Tampa, I'm buying a Tom Brady jersey. And I should have wore it today. I have a black Tom Brady Super Bowl jersey because, you can't deny his status as the GOAT. Like, you can't just deny it. I mean, even though I'm not a Patriots fan, I'm not a Bucs fan, I'm from Chicago, as you can see. I'm a Bears fan, but you gotta respect what he was able to accomplish. A whole new coach, a whole new system, he had Gronk, but it was a half of Gronk that season because, Gronk just kind of came out of retirement. So it was like he was able to win his Super Bowl and still play at the level at his age. It just gives all of us old guys, something to look towards. That was amazing.
Absolutely. No, his whole career was something to watch. He did it different ways with different people around him, and then with a different team. Nothing but respect for what he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. So one last question, and then we'll get into actually your stands here.
Yeah.
If you had one player to pick and say, this is my all-time Red Sox guy, who is it?
Oh, I'll probably just go back to. I'm going to go back to when I was young, and it was Fred Lynn. Fred Lynn was my favorite player growing up. I was heartbroken when he went to the Angels. I loved watching him play. He had a swing that was made for Fenway, and now, hey, the Red Sox have had a lot of success in my adult life, and love David Ortiz, love Pedroia, love all those guys. But I think back to what made me fall in love with the sport and the team and everything else. It was those, late 70s, early 80s teams, and Fred Lynn was a big part of that. So it's cool memories.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fenway and Wrigley are the only two. Were the last of the old stadiums. You can say Yankee Stadium, but they had really underwent a whole rebuild. It's not really the same thing. But Boston and Wrigley. I grew up a block away from Wrigley Field, so I got to grow up here in Harry Sing, the 7th inning stretch. Back then, it was only day games, so the history. I know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to history and all that stuff of us as kids. For me, it's still Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Exactly. And yeah, it's funny you mention it. It's I've only been to Wrigley once, but I was lucky enough to be in Chicago on business, and the Cubs were home, and I got to catch a day game there. And if I walked in, I'm like, okay, this feels really familiar. This feels like Fenway Park. It's the same, because it's all old, right?
It's so old in the middle of the neighborhood.
But it was really cool. I really enjoyed just going there and watching the game. Lucky enough to be there.
So I've never personally been to Fenway. Is Fenway set up the same way as Wrigley, where it's just in the middle of a neighborhood? Like there's no parking lot, there's no anything?
Oh, there's no parking, but it's not quite a neighborhood. I mean, there's some it's in the middle of the city, and you've got, bars and restaurants around, but you've got the city moving around you. It's like it's not like, when I go to, Arlington, go watch the Rangers, or even go to Houston. It's like they dropped this beautiful park in the middle of a functioning city and said, all right, well, figure out where to park, and we'll meet you at the game and have a good time.
Oh, nice. Yeah, in Chicago, to watch a game, you actually got to take the train because the parking lot for Wrigley is actually like 1.5 miles, 2 miles away. And you can't park in the neighborhoods anymore. Back when I lived there, it was, free parking anywhere. But they kind of really cleaned that up. So let's start talking about a little bit about your stands here. And so if you're seeing at the background of the picture here, so tell me, what prompted this idea? What made Breaking Ball create stands?
Yeah. So I appreciate that, but it started. I talked about, as my kids got older, I wanted to find a new hobby, and first I tried a little bit of woodworking. It's really not for me. I'm not a woodworker. Then I decided to pick up 3D printing. 3D printing became my next hobby, and I enjoyed it. But then my wife started selling some things that we were printing on an Etsy store that she runs. And before you know it, my hobby had turned into another job. Okay, I was supporting, a dozen printers that run in my game room. When you're earning money on it, it's a little bit less of a hobby again. It's a little bit more of I better go make sure that printer's still running. So I was like, all right, I have to pick a new hobby. So I went back into cards. But by this point, I had some experience with 3D printing. And the first thing I did was look at it and say, well, shoot, I could print something from my cards to display my own stuff. And there were a few things I wanted to do. I wanted a simple stand that would support horizontal display, vertical display, and could be used with top loaders, could be used with one touch, could be used with slabs, and support all that, so you didn't have to think about, am I grabbing the right stand for the card I'm trying to display. And then I already had a bunch of colors in stock, so I started printing them and realizing, hey, I can do some cool stuff here as it comes to matching different parallels or just doing things in team colors. So I needed, I needed the hobby, which is what cards had become for me again. But I had that experience in 3D printing, and then when I created it, I thought, well, this is something other people use. And I don't know about you, but I don't like spending my hobby money on things other than cards, right? I like buying cards. I don't like spending a lot of money on the ancillary stuff. So I tried to, find a way to print these at a reasonable cost. So I can make a few bucks to buy myself some more cards, and keep it at a price point where people are willing to try it out and hopefully get some value out of it.
Got you. So your stand. So this is the setup right here. This is part of it. This is where the magic happens.
That's it. Yeah, that's where we print everything. Those things are running between the stands, but more so with my wife's stuff. Those printers run hard. They run about 21 hours a day.
Oh wow. Interesting. So I've like I've told you, I've never dabbled with 3D printing or have even seen a 3D printer. So is this monitor right here in the bottom right corner, is that kind of like the on button for the 3D printer, or is it all connected to a computer software and you have to press print the computer?
They all have their own little board on them. So that right there, the screen you see is just the LCD control panel where I can change some settings and start a print job. It just takes a micro SD card that you plug into the front of the printer itself, and it can read that print file from there and take action. So it's it's pretty neat how 3D printing has become something that you can, each one of those printers probably, I don't know, $250-ish, which still keeps it in that consumer level hobbyist type price point, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and I mean, I've for everyone watching, we personally purchased these stands, and they're very, 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 very affordable. Very, very, very affordable. We'll talk a little bit more into prices and all that, but you can customize these stands in terms of engraving. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what I can do is set it up so that I can put some custom text on the front of the stand. It's an engraved style, so it's actually printed into the stand. It's not an after printing effect that we do. It's actually printed into it. And it's just a way that I can keep that price point low, but still offer a little bit of customization. So now you have a choice of color, and then you can add some text to it. Some people are using that with their Twitter handle to post pictures of cards that they've got for sale. I've had some brick and mortar stores reach out to me with bigger orders for giveaways. Some breakers have started giving away a stand with their shipments, and hopefully the price point keeps it to the point that it's feasible to do that.
Oh, awesome. So I'm looking at this picture right now, and can you just tell the public a little bit a little bit about what I'm looking at right here?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is where, before I even thought about selling them, when I was just designing it for myself, I said, hey, I want to display these cards, or I want to have the stands sit, or the holders sit in the stands in a way that's going to give it a similar angle as it leans back in the stand a little bit. And to do that, I just created a few different ridges. I went out, I think I told you, Sean, I didn't own any slabs when I designed these, but I knew I wanted them to work for slabs. So I was rushing out to eBay. I'm like, I need to get a PSA slab. I need to get a BGS slab. I picked up like 4 or 5 different cheap slabs just to test them out and make sure things worked the way I intended them to. But it's just varying depths and thicknesses that can be supported without any change to the stand design itself.
Yeah, and I will tell you guys this from personally owning these stands. What's really cool about those ridges too is as a breaker, when you have them on display, it gives you the different variables of angles for the camera, for the lighting. It allows you actually to fit, I think I counted maybe 7 top loaders fit into one stand, somewhere around that number, if I remember correctly. So they're actually really pretty cool, especially like I said, some of the easels that some of us use, they're not very stable. You tap them over and they're falling over. These things are solid. It's not going anywhere. It's definitely not going anywhere. And you can see from the pictures here, there's multiple colors. So on the color scheme, are you only able to print solid colors, or could you mesh colors?
So, I actually, right now I can only print solid colors. But I did pick up a new printer that does multiple colors, and I had, it's just kind of on my list of things to experiment with a little bit and see what I can do with the stands. So it's on the to-do list, let's put it that way.
Okay, no, that's actually going to be cool to offer. With 3D printing, there's so many different colors available already. Once you start getting into trying to do too much, it might just take away from the stand itself.
And that's part of it. I wanted to keep the design relatively simple. I do love having a bunch of colors. I'll have somebody reach out to me and say, hey, do you have any brown? And I'm like, no, but I'll buy it. And I'll lose money on the deal, and I don't care, but I just want to have that new color in stock, right? I think when I buy film to go into the 3D printer, I don't know, $20-25 a roll. And, if I'm selling somebody 5 stands, it's one more color I can stick on the shelf and have available to them.
So when you take in orders, do you ever get those odd requests like, I want mint green or ocean blue?
Not really. What I'm seeing more of lately is people who are, Mets fans who want the orange and the blue. Orioles fans coming in with the orange and the black. I'm seeing more orders that are maybe, hey, I want something that's going to match my. And in some cases, these colors work really well for that. I don't have a lot of control over the various shades. So, like I say, some of the colors work better for than others, but I see a lot of that. I see a lot of, give me 5 orange and 5 black. Like, I bet I can guess which, if you're a baseball fan, I bet you can guess which team you're a fan of.
Yeah, I could definitely. I mean, I would, if it was up to me, I'd have everything red and blue. I mean, like I said, if I were to, I'm a diehard Chicago a Bulls fan, Chicago Bears fan, but knowing where I grew up, I mean, I bleed Cubby blue. If I had to choose that one team, it's the Cubs. And I mean, if I could make every stand, blue and red, that would be the way to go for me. But see, this is a little bit better close-up of the ridges of the different angles, the different what fits in what. So as you can see on the white stand right in the middle, that fits the top loader, and when you put it directly in there, it basically almost stands it up vertically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Just a little lean back, just so it's not toppling forward. The last thing you want to do is put a card up and have it fall face down. Especially if you're braking or something like that.
Yeah. So is this your card right here? Your personal card?
Yeah, that's one of them. That's one of the. I've got. It's almost like there are two collections. There's the PC, and then there's the sample cards that I pull out to take pictures of the stands now and again. And that Lad slab is in that pile right now, at least.
Nice. So if there's one player in the league right now that is not on your team, are you piecing anybody outside of your team right now?
Yeah, I wouldn't say PC, but man, whenever I hit a nice Tatis card, I certainly hold on to it. I'm not looking to flip him. I love Vladdy, I love Tatis, I love Bichette. I wouldn't quite call it a PC, but let's say a reluctance to part with. How's that?
No, I agree with you. I personally, I mean, now, even though I'm from Chicago, I live in San Diego County now, and I get to see Tatis, he's on the news all the time, and it's really, really cool to see this guy, what he does for the Padres in terms of a marketing standpoint, in terms of what he brings to their actual team. Is he the best defensive player in the world? Absolutely not. But that guy is exciting to watch when he's got that bat in his hand. You can't deny talent, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, I like the expressive guys too. I like the guys, who show their emotion and show their celebration and show their joy in playing. And he brings that every day. So, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, so we're getting, as you can guys see, I'm cycling through the different kind of cards, the stands, and you can see all the different colors, the engraving onto these things. I mean, they do work great for giveaways. Again, as a breaker, I will tell you guys, they're on the very, very affordable side. So how does one make an order from you? How does that work?
Hey, right now it's a DM on Twitter. I'm playing around, and I will be rolling a website for some basic orders. I do, I like to, anyone who's ordered from me probably knows, especially as I've gotten a little bit busier, I'm going to give you an ETA for shipping when you place your order. And, I'll tell guys, I've got a couple orders ahead of you. I'll get yours out by Friday. That's important to me. I don't want it, I like interacting with people. I like meeting new people in the hobby. So right now it's just a DM, and that way I can answer any questions along the way. Again, try to keep it really reasonably priced and a little bit of personal touch along the way. The other thing is, oftentimes I get a question, well, how many characters can you fit on the front of a stand? And I don't know, I haven't really hit a max yet. I've done 17 or 20, but what are you thinking? Let me mock it up for you and I'll send you a picture right back. This is what it would look like, right? And I can't do that through a website, but I can do that through DMs. So as long as people are a little patient with, I do go to sleep and I do go out to dinner and stuff, but when I'm available, I like to have that kind of interaction with people.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, guys, from experience, I placed an order, I believe it was on a Thursday, and I got my order on a Tuesday. So I could vouch and tell you guys it ships when he is available. I can't say it's going to be all the time. You can't order 1,000 and expect it on Monday. But within reason, it is very, very fast.
Yeah, I move it quickly. That's the nice thing about having as many printers as I do is I can kind of push my wife's work off to the side a little bit and fall behind on her stuff. I'm like, well, now all those printers are doing stands right now, hon. I can't help you.
Oops. Priorities, and we got a large order here, honey. We got a large order here. But do you have anything else you want to add? Do you want to add to this?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm really happy to be a part of this podcast, and we've talked a little bit offline about positivity in the hobby, and I think that's so important. It's something I've met some incredible people through this, and that's as important or more important than ripping packs, right? I mean, it's sharing it with people, around the country, around the world, and so and like every other community, it's not always positive. So I think anytime we can shine a light on the positive side of things and hey, you and I haven't met in person, but we can sit here and apparently you and I can talk sports a long time because we kind of go back and forth. We talked the other day, and I like that kind of stuff. I like the interaction side of things.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the whole purpose of these videos. It's all one love. As kids, we didn't have the cell phones, we didn't have the internet. We actually had to go out and actually meet people, whether it be at school, in my sense, it used to be at card shows. It used to be, playing basketball. We actually had, and also going to the malls. We had to actually go out and find it. So for me, I appreciate coming across people such as yourself that I've come across in this hobby. Just like anything, you meet some really great people, and you meet some people who are just like, come on, guys, we don't have to. Let's keep it positive. I like staying on the positive side of things. I always tell everybody I would rather laugh than cry. It's easier for me to do that. I try my best to talk with a smile at all times. But his Twitter handle is currently on screen, guys. Follow him on Twitter at BreakingBall2. DM him for any orders. Is there a max amount of orders? Is there a minimum amount of orders? How's that work?
If I could do smaller orders, I would. So the smallest order I'll generally take is 5, only because I'm spending half of my income or half of the proceeds just to ship them at that point. I'll do 5 stands, not customized for $750, and I'm paying $3.50 or $4 just to ship them out. So minimum orders 5. There is no maximum. I'll work with you on how long it would take. I've done orders of a couple hundred. We've got printers. Got
you. Well, I appreciate you taking the time for us to have this conversation. It's not going to be the last of the conversations. We're going to continue this relationship for more. Hopefully, one of these days we get to meet each other in person at a card show or something. But I'm going to be able to display your stands on our streams. But I'm SC1. That's my guy Mike, aka Breaking Bald. And this is Meet the Hobby, guys. Until the next episode, I'll talk to you guys then.